consider how we show such good hospitality to the Shabbat candles. Well, in advance of the meal, we select beautiful candlesticks. Sometimes, if we're really good, we even polish them. We place them at the center of the table. We give them a place of honor. We stand, we rise to greet them. We ceremonially strike the match. We lift up our hands to beckon in their light. We cover our eyes in humility before their light. And then we bless them with ancient words. Despite the fact that nowhere is it written in our Torah, "Thou shalt light candles for Shabbat," our sages nevertheless teach us to say, "Baruch atah, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat." Praised are you, O God, who has commanded us to light the light of Shabbat. If only we treated one another as graciously as we treat those candles. If only we extended to one another a fraction of the honor that we extend to those candles. If only we had rituals to guide us in the mitzvah of hospitality as we do for the mitzvah of candle lighting. Now, there are and always have been rituals to uphold the mitzvah of hachnasat orchim, of welcoming guests. Every culture all over the planet, in every age, has rules and rituals, sometimes very elaborate and sometimes simple, for extending hospitality. We see one shining example of it in our Torah portion. Rebecca is by the well one evening drawing water as the other women are drawing water and sharing the talk of the town, when suddenly Rebecca notices a stranger and his entourage coming towards them from a distance. Without even asking his name, she welcomes him. She offers him something to drink, and she draws enough water for all of his camels. Now, Rabbi Plaut notes for us that apparently a single camel needs at least 25 gallons of water to replenish itself. And the Torah specifies that Eliezer had 10 camels with him. So Rebecca shows not only great hospitality and great generosity, but also real determination, planning, and stamina. No one else from the crowd offers to join her. Rebecca alone uses her energy and her initiative to welcome the newcomer. Young Rebecca introduces herself. She offers straw for the camels and lodging for the night. In such a strong patriarchal society, inviting a stranger back to her father's house without first asking permission shows unusual independence and initiative. Rebecca's commitment to the mitzvah of welcoming overrides other well-established rites and rituals, and she is rewarded for it. Many blessings of promise and progeny come her way because of her open hand, her open mind, her open heart, and her open home. And what about us? The pandemic interrupted and disrupted many of the patterns of hospitality in this city and in this Jewish community. But even now, if you ask yourself, do you host others as often as you did before? Are you hosted by others as often as you were before? What has changed? And are we resigned to this change? Has this shift changed us? And if so, how? Are our relationships changed without as much hosting and being hosted as before? I often ask myself, what role do synagogue communities have to play as these cultural shifts and trends change the quality of our lives? And what role does a sacred community like ours have to play? We call tonight a Shabbat of welcome. We are so glad that you are here. Thanks to Rabbi Baruchel, our Director of Outreach and Next Gen Engagement, we are welcoming hundreds of congregants and guests tonight, tomorrow, and tomorrow night, with royal invitations, each one of you. And I'm very proud to see how Holy Blossom is getting better at the mitzvah of welcoming. I hear it all the time from new members, saying it's so warm, there's something in the air at Holy Blossom. And yes, 20% of our congregation is new in the last 3 years. And just last night, our interim director of membership, Marnie Turner, and our outgoing vice president of membership, Ellen Cole, announced to the temple board that somewhere hovering around 270 households have joined us just this year alone. What a blessing. At a time when the world is growing more inhospitable for Jews, we are opening our doors more and more widely and helping people of all backgrounds and life stages to find a real home here, a lasting home. This Monday, we begin a 3-part series, Team Taught. It's called HBT 101, everything you wanted to know about Holy Blossom Temple but never had the chance to ask. So while everyone is welcome, of course, it is designed especially for congregants who have joined us in recent years. It's an opportunity to learn some of our stories, the history of Toronto's first synagogue, our core values, some of the colorful characters and colorful events that have shaped our story. And it's not too late to participate. Details are on our website. You can come to all 3 or to any one of its parts. I often say the congregation belongs to the congregation. That means this is your house. That means you are welcome to welcome others to join you here. For Shabbat, for lifelong learning, for daily prayer, for meaningful volunteer opportunities, for life cycle moments, for meetings of all kinds, and also for the informal, more spontaneous gathering moments, like a cup of coffee at Holy Grounds Cafe, or Tuesdays for a game of Mahjong with Dorot. Rabbi Soloveitchik teaches that the ultimate host is God. When God created the universe, God contracted God's self to make room in the world and all it contains to come into being. God was everything and everywhere and all time until God contracted and said, Vayihi Or, let something else come into being. Let me make room for something more to unfold. In our morning Amidah, we sing Baruch Kevod Adonai Mimkomo. Praised is God's glory from God's place. That is, God's glory becomes known and praiseworthy when others are invited into God's place. Until God invited the universe into being, there was nothing and no one to praise God's goodness or God's greatness. For better and for worse, it seems, God decided in God's infinite wisdom to welcome the creative order and chaos of the world, to come into what was before only God's domain. So God, as the machnis orchim, as the great welcomer, the great host, we are invited into this world to make it our own, to make it our home. So let's take a page from God's good book and consider how we can make room in our own busy lives, in our own little lives, to prioritize the mitzvah of hospitality. Because we are created in the image of God, because we are commanded to walk in God's ways, let us take up the challenge and the opportunity, the joy and the reward that comes from embracing one another. We can make this world a home for one another. This is our task. This is our blessing. I wish you a Shabbat Shalom. And thank you for being here, truly.